In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can actually go ahead and get huge plants, no clickbait at all, guys. I'm going to show you guys a step-by-step guys, the do's and the don'ts to what you should be doing to get yourself huge plants, just like this one on your screen right now. So if you guys want to learn how to do that, let's go ahead and hop straight into this. But before that, if you guys could do me a favor and hit that red subscribe button, that'd be greatly appreciated, because we're trying to get to 300k, and as you guys can probably tell, we're like 10k subs away from 300k. So help a brother out. Let's get straight into this video. First things first, how do you actually get a huge plant? Do you need a bunch of sprinklers? Do you need a special pet? Do you need to abuse some sort of game bug like leaving the game or something? No, none of it, guys. Another common myth is that paying Robux using this right here increases the chances of you getting huge pets. This is also incorrect. No, you cannot get extra growth because you paid Robux. This is just a useless feature. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, 375 Robux to grow all your garden, but it actually is just a overpriced feature in the game. No, growing a huge plant is completely based on luck, and I'm gonna explain to you why that is. First things first, you need to understand that every single plant has a different chance of actually becoming a huge plant. Yes, a sunflower might have a 1% chance of becoming huge, whereas something like a sugar apple might only have a 0.5% of getting huge. You can easily check this by going over to the Grow a Garden wiki. You can easily find the Grow a Garden wiki by simply just going over to Google and typing in Grow a Garden wiki, just like this. And as you guys can see, the first result right here is the official wiki. Once you guys are on the wiki, you simply want to go ahead and fill out the survey, whatever. And here you want to go ahead and search up the plant that you want to make huge. For example, if you want to make something like Bone Blossom huge, you want to go ahead and search it up. And as you guys can see, the Bone Blossom actually has a 2.5% chance of becoming huge. And rinse and repeat for any plant you guys want to go ahead and make huge. Once again, if you want to go ahead and make something like sunflower huge, let's go ahead and see the percentage of that. And as you guys can see, a sunflower is actually quite difficult to make huge. It's a 0.17% chance to make huge. So yes, the plant you choose actually matters, so be very careful with what plant you're trying to make huge in Grow a Garden. Moving on, sprinklers. Do they actually help with growing your plant bigger? You can buy sprinklers in the gear shop, as many of you already know, but as you guys can see, these don't actually make your plant bigger, and here's why. Each one of these sprinklers have a special ability. Increases growth speed and fruit size. Fruit size, not plant size, guys. Fruit size. And none of these sprinklers actually mention that they increase the size of the plant. So no, guys, there is no sprinkler in the game currently that actually increases the size of your plant. They all simply just go ahead and increase the size of the fruit the plant actually bears. So you do not need to use any sprinklers if you want to go ahead and get yourself a huge plant. Another thing I recommend you guys to go ahead and do, instead of getting yourself a bunch of sprinklers, what I recommend instead is getting yourself a bunch of watering cans. These are not only cheaper, but you can actually just AFK here overnight with an autoclicker or something and get like thousands and thousands of these. And trust me, we're gonna need them in just a second. I'm gonna explain to you why. Once again, the most difficult part of this entire thing is finding that plant that's easy enough to actually grow really big, and also cool enough so you can show off. Because let's be honest, anyone who wants a huge plant is usually just doing it to show off. There is no practical use for having a massive plant in your garden, besides of course showing off to people, and it is kind of funny seeing a massive freaking sunflower or something, you know? So once again, just go over to the wiki and just keep going through all of the plants, all of the seeds that you guys have, and keep looking at the percentage of which they become huge. And once you go ahead and find the fruit that you want to go ahead and make huge, let's move on to the next step of this video. So moving on, for the next step, once again, as I mentioned before, you need to have a bunch of watering cans. So what I recommend you do is buy as many watering cans as you can. Most of you probably have thousands and thousands already, but if you don't, once again, AFK right here, get yourself as many as you possibly can. Another thing you can also go ahead and AFK is the common egg, because we are going to need the common egg for something. I'll go ahead and explain to you that in just a second, but make sure you guys have a bunch of common eggs. This is very easy to get, guys. There's usually a common egg always in stock, so once again, just go ahead and AFK here overnight. You're gonna get a few hundred common eggs, and we only need a few. Don't worry, you don't need too many of them. And finally, the next step is to go ahead and go over to the crafting area and craft yourself a bunch of these reclaimers. Now, if you are tempted to buy these with Robux, do not buy them with Robux. They are extremely overpriced, so I would not recommend this at all. But as you guys can see, the crafting price for this is actually really reasonable. You're gonna need one common egg, one harvest tool, and shekels. Oh, and of course, the harvest tool. How could I have forgotten? Once again, you can get that inside of the gear shop by simply AFKing. Now, you can set up a macro or something. I'm not sure if that is bannable. Personally, I don't really use macros. I've never really used one, so I don't know if it works. So I wouldn't really endorse a macro, but as you guys can see, harvest tools are also very easy to get. You can simply just go ahead, set up an auto clicker and AFK here for a few hours, and you might get a few harvest tools. Well, again, we only need one of them to get ourselves 3 reclaimers. So yeah, that's all we need. Now, these do take 25 minutes to actually go ahead and craft, so that would be kind of a downside. But yeah, this is probably the hardest part about this entire thing, after of course finding the plant itself. But it shouldn't take too long. It honestly should not. One more thing you guys can go ahead and do is use pets to boost the crafting type. You can use something like the hamster if you do have this pet. This guy basically every 3 minutes runs in a hamster wheel and boosts crafting speed by 30% for 19 seconds. So yeah, if you have a bunch of these are going to help you guys out a bunch. But if you don't, then you just gotta wait the 25 minutes, unfortunately. Additionally, if you have something like the orangutan, you can also use this, because this guy, when crafting, each material has a chance for it to not be consumed. So yeah, if you want to save on material, you can also use this. Another pet you can use is this guy right here. Now, I'm just listing through a few pets that you can use. I know most of you probably don't have 8 of these pets sitting in your inventory, but if you do have these, by chance, use them, right? If you don't have them, it's fine. You can skip over these. These are not a must, but yeah, if you do have this pet, you can use it. It was only a 28% chance to get from the primal egg, so most of you might already have this. But once again, this guy goes ahead and grants a 6% chance to duplicate a crafting item. This is a very good pet. And finally, the squirrel. Most of you might actually not know this, but the squirrel's ability actually got changed after the reclaimer came out. As you guys can see, it has a small chance to not consume a reclaimer when using it. It also gains additional XP, which is pretty cool. So yeah, any of these pets, if you have them, you can use them. If you don't have them, you can skip over this entire thing. Don't worry, you don't need to do it. Alright, once you guys have done that, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Now, by this time, you should have a bunch of reclaimers in your inventory. I'd recommend getting at least like 20. And once you guys have at least 20 reclaimers, you also want to go ahead and get your watering can. Once again, you should have a few thousand watering cans. If you don't, you might be just a little bit screwed. Like, I don't have a lot of watering cans right now, so I might be a little screwed here. But moving on, now the next step is to choose your plants. I'm going to be using a bone blossom because this has a 2.5% chance of becoming a huge plant. So it's on the high side, so making this huge is going to be quite easy. By quite easy, I mean quite easy compared to other plants. It's still not easy, it's still a 2.5% chance. The only difficult part about this entire method is the setup. Once you actually have all of the materials, this method is not hard at all. All you have to do, guys, is to go over to your bone blossom or any plant you are using and then reclaim it, just like this. And once you guys, of course, go ahead and reclaim your plant, you just want to go ahead and plant it back. That's it. That's the entire method, guys. Because once again, it's a 2.5% chance. If we keep on planting it, you are going to know when this thing is going to grow up. Actually, you don't even need to wait for it to grow up. You can simply just wait for this little stem to come out. And as you guys can see, this is not a big stem, meaning this thing is probably not going to be a huge plant. Now, the only downside to this is, as you guys can see at the top of my screen, if you try and reclaim a plant before it is done planting, or sorry, done growing, you can't pick it up. So you do have to wait for the bone blossom to grow up. But this is where our watering cans come in handy, because you can just use them to grow this thing up. And this is why you want to try and get as many watering cans as you possibly can, because they're going to come in handy. Like, these are very OP if you want to do this method. And yeah, guys, it's as simple as that. Keep on doing that over and over again. And of course, once again, it's a 2.5% chance to actually get a huge plant. So it is going to involve just a tiny bit of luck. All you need to do is have patience and a bunch of reclaimers, and of course, a bunch of watering cans. Oh, and of course, a lot of time. How could I forget? Lots and lots of time. And you will at least have a few huge plants of your choosing. And that's about it. That's everything you need to do. It's actually not that difficult. Like, it is really easy. But if you guys found this video even just slightly helpful, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Oh, and if you watched the video all the way to the end, go ahead and comment water. Let's see how many people actually made it to the end. And since you're going down there anyways, hit that red subscribe button. Once again, we're trying to get to 300k, so help a brother out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.